The Four Agreements, A Practical Guide to Personal Freedom, by Don Miguel Ruiz. Introduction. Imagine for a moment a time 3,000 years ago. Near a city surrounded by mountains, there was a man, just like you and me. He was studying to be a medicine man, learning the knowledge of his ancestors. But in his heart, he felt something was missing. He didn't completely agree with what he was being taught. He felt there had to be something more. One night, sleeping in a cave, he had a dream that would change his life, and eventually, the lives of millions. In this dream, he saw his own body asleep, and he stepped out of the cave into the cool night air. The sky was a blanket of clear, shimmering stars. And then, something shifted inside of him. A profound realization. He looked at his own hands, felt his own body, and heard his own voice say, "I am made of light. I am made of stars." He looked back up at the sky and understood that it wasn't the stars that created light, but the light that created the stars. Everything, he realized, everything is made of light. And the space in between isn't empty. He saw that all of existence is one single, living being we might call God. And if everything is God, then we are God. We are images of light. But he also saw that the world we perceive is like a mirror. And between us and that mirror is a wall of smoke. A fog. This fog is made from our interpretations, our beliefs, our judgments, the collective dream of all humans. This smoke, he realized, is what keeps us from seeing what we truly are, pure love, pure light. He decided to call himself the smoky mirror, to always remember that the world is a reflection of who we are, but the smoke in between us is the dream that keeps us from recognizing ourselves in each other. That ancient story is the foundation of the book we are exploring today, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This isn't just a book, it is a key, passed down from the ancient Toltec people of southern Mexico. It's a work that has sold over 15 million copies and has spent more than a decade on the New York Times bestseller list, not because it's a clever marketing trick, but because it speaks to a fundamental truth we all feel deep down. Don Miguel Ruiz, a surgeon who turned to the spiritual wisdom of his ancestors after a near-fatal car accident, acts as our guide. He is what the Toltec call a nagual, a master who can guide us out of the fog. And that is my promise to you today. By the end of our time together, you will understand the invisible architecture that has been quietly running your life since the day you were born. You will see the smoke for what it is. And more importantly, you will be given four simple, profoundly powerful agreements that, if you choose to adopt them, will act as a sword to cut through that fog and lead you to what you've always wanted: personal freedom. The freedom to finally be who you truly are. Book summary. So, how did we get here? How did our minds, which were once as wild and free as a child's, become so filled with this smoke? Ruiz gives us a word for it. It's a word that might sting a little, but it's a word of truth. The word is domestication. Think about how we train a pet. A dog or a cat. We teach it with a system of punishment and reward. When the puppy does what we want, we say, "Good dog," and we give it a treat. When it does something we don't like, we punish it. Now, think about your own childhood. From the moment we are born, the humans who came before us, our parents, our teachers, our society, begin to teach us how to live in the dream of the planet. This outside dream has a set of rules, beliefs, laws, and social norms already in place. And just like with a puppy, our attention is hooked, and we are trained. When we did what mom and dad wanted, we were told, "You're a good boy," or "You're a good girl." That was our reward. The reward was the attention we received from the adults around us. When we went against their rules, we were punished, and we felt the sting of their disapproval. We soon became afraid of being punished, and even more, we became afraid of not receiving the reward. And so, we started to pretend. We started pretending to be what we are not, just to please others, just to be good enough for someone else. We learned to create an image of perfection based on their rules, an image we could never live up to. We buried our own natural tendencies under a pile of beliefs that were never ours to begin with. We didn't choose our language, our religion, or our moral values. They were given to us. And we agreed to them. This process of domestication is so effective that eventually, we no longer need anyone else to tame us. We become our own domesticator. We are now an auto-domesticated animal. Inside our minds, we build a whole system to enforce these rules. Ruiz gives this system 3 names. First, there is the Book of Law. This is the complete set of beliefs we agreed to, programmed into our minds. It tells us what is right and wrong, beautiful and ugly, good and bad. And we believe, without question, that whatever is in this book of law is the absolute truth. Second, there is the inner judge. The judge is that part of our mind that uses the book of law to measure everything and everyone, especially ourselves. Every time we do something that goes against the book of law, the judge finds us guilty. It says we need to be punished, that we should be ashamed. This happens dozens, maybe hundreds of times a day, for our entire lives. And third, there is the victim. The victim is the part of us that receives the judgment. It's the part that carries the blame, the guilt, and the shame. The victim is the voice that whispers, "Poor me. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy of love." And the judge agrees, saying, "Yes, you're not good enough." This endless cycle is the source of our suffering. We make a mistake, the judge finds us guilty, and the victim accepts the punishment. But unlike any other animal on earth, we don't just pay for a mistake once. We pay 1,000 times. Every time we remember the mistake, we judge ourselves again, we find ourselves guilty again, and we punish ourselves again. It's a cruel, self-perpetuating system. This inner world, this chaos of 1,000 different voices all talking at once, is what the Toltecs called the mitote. It's a dream where nobody understands each other. It's like living in a fog so thick you can't see past your own nose. And this whole system, the judge, the victim, and the book of law, Ruiz compares it to a parasite that has invaded our minds. It's a living being made of emotional energy that controls our thoughts and our dream. And what does this parasite feed on? Fear. It thrives on the negative emotions that come from fear, anger, jealousy, sadness, and hate. It creates drama and suffering because that is its food. We live in what the book describes as a dream of hell, not a place we go when we die, but a state of mind we inhabit right here, right now. It's a dream of violence, of fear, of war, of injustice. But here is the good news. Here is the light. If our agreements are what keep us trapped, then new agreements can set us free. We can declare a war, not on others, but on the parasite in our own minds. We can become what Ruiz calls a spiritual warrior. A warrior who fights for the right to use our own mind, to live our own life, to reclaim our personal freedom. And our weapons in this war? They are 4 simple, elegant, and life-altering agreements. The first agreement: be impeccable with your word. This, Ruiz says, is the most important and the most difficult of the agreements. It is so powerful that this one agreement alone can change your life completely. So what does it mean? Let's break it down. First, your word. Your word is not just a sound or a symbol. It is the power you have to create. It is a force. It is magic. Think about it. The Bible says, "In the beginning was the Word." Through your words, you manifest everything you dream and feel. But like a sword with two edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or it can destroy everything around you. One edge is the impeccable use of the word, which creates beauty, love, and heaven on earth. The other is the misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. Misusing the word is black magic. Ruiz gives the stark example of Adolf Hitler, a man who, through the power of his word alone, manipulated an entire nation of intelligent people. He activated their fear with his words, and those words led to a world war and the death of millions. That is the terrifying power of the word. Our mind is like fertile ground, and words are like seeds. If you plant a seed of fear, fear will grow. If you plant a seed of love, love will grow. The problem is, our minds have been made fertile for the seeds of fear. We use our words like black magicians all the time, casting little spells on each other without even realizing it. Ruiz tells a story that sends a chill down your spine. Imagine a mother who has had a terrible day at work. She comes home tired, with a splitting headache. Her little daughter is jumping and singing, full of joy. Her singing makes the mother's head hurt even more, and in a moment of anger, the mother loses control. She looks at her little girl and says, "Shut up, you have an ugly voice. Can you just shut up?" The little girl believes her mother. In that moment, she makes an agreement with herself: my voice is ugly and it bothers people. After that day, she never sang again. She became shy. Even speaking became difficult for her. A single spell, cast by the person who loved her most, created a complex that would follow her for the rest of her life. How many times do we do this to our children, to our friends, to our partners? And how many times do we do it to ourselves? We constantly tell ourselves, "I'm so stupid. I look ugly. I'll never be good enough." This is using the word against ourselves. Now for the second part of the agreement: impeccable. The word comes from Latin. Peccatus means sin, and im means without. So, impeccable means without sin. But Ruiz redefines sin. A sin isn't a moral transgression. A sin is anything you do that goes against yourself. When you judge yourself, blame yourself, or tell yourself you're not good enough, you are sinning against yourself. The biggest sin you can commit is self-rejection. So, to be impeccable with your word means to not use the word against yourself. If I call you stupid on the street, it seems like I'm using my word against you. But really, I'm using it against myself. Because you will hate me for it, and your hatred is not good for me. I'm sending out emotional poison, and that poison will eventually come back to me. The opposite is also true. If I use my word to express love, that action will produce a like reaction. If I love you, you will love me. If I have gratitude for you, you will have gratitude for me. One of the worst forms of black magic is something we all do: gossip. Gossip is pure poison. Ruiz compares it to a computer virus. Someone tells you a piece of gossip, and if you believe it, the virus is installed in your mind. It changes how you perceive things, and you might not even be aware of it. Then, to get some relief from the poison, you gossip and pass the virus on to someone else. Soon, the world is full of people whose minds are clogged with these contagious viruses. To be impeccable with your word is to stop this. It's to use your words for truth and love, starting with yourself. Tell yourself how wonderful you are, how great you are, how much you love yourself. Use your words to break all the tiny, old agreements that make you suffer. This one agreement has the power to clean all the emotional poison from your mind and set you free. The second agreement: don't take anything personally. This agreement is born from the first. If you can master this one, you will become immune to so much of the poison in the world. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. If someone comes up to you on the street and says, "Hey, "You're stupid," without knowing you. It's not about you. It's about them. They are dealing with their own beliefs, their own feelings, their own dream. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in a completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we are making the assumption that they know what is in our world. This is the maximum expression of selfishness, what Ruiz calls personal importance, the belief that everything is about me. If you take their comment personally, it's because a part of you agrees with what they said. As soon as you agree, the poison enters you, and you are trapped. Taking things personally makes you easy prey for the black magicians. They can hook you with a little opinion, feed you their emotional garbage, and because you take it personally, you eat it up. But if you don't take it personally, you are immune, even in the middle of hell. The poison is sent, but you don't receive it. It stays with the sender. This applies to positive comments as well. If someone says, "You are the best," don't take it personally either. They are seeing you through their own lens, their own beliefs. You already know your own worth. You don't need others to validate it for you. Ruiz goes further. He says that even the opinions you have about yourself are not necessarily true. Your mind has the ability to talk to itself, but sometimes you hear voices that don't originate from you. You have a choice whether to believe those voices or not. You don't have to take what your own mind says personally. Remember the methode? The 1,000 voices speaking at once? Don't take any of them personally. When you make it a habit not to take anything personally, your anger, jealousy, and envy will begin to disappear. You will be able to walk through the world with your heart completely open, and no one can hurt you. You can say "I love you" without fear of rejection. You can ask for what you need. You can say yes or no without guilt or self-judgment. A huge amount of freedom comes to you when you realize it's never about you. It's always about them. The third agreement: don't make assumptions. This agreement has the power to completely transform your relationships. We have a tendency to make assumptions about everything. The problem is, we believe our assumptions are the truth. We could swear they are real. We make an assumption, we take it personally, and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. In fact, Ruiz states that all the sadness and drama in your life is rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. Why do we do this? Because we have a need to understand and explain everything to feel safe. And we are afraid to ask for clarification. It feels safer to just assume. The book gives a perfect example. You're in a relationship, and you assume your partner knows you so well that you don't have to say what you want. You assume they'll just know. And when they don't do what you expected them to do, you feel hurt and say, "You should have known." You get upset because they failed to meet an expectation they never even knew you had. This one dynamic is the source of countless fights and misunderstandings in relationships. We also make the biggest assumption of all, that everyone else sees life the way we do. We assume others think, feel, and judge the way we do. This is why we're so afraid to be ourselves around others. We think they will judge us, victimize us, and blame us, because that's what we do to ourselves. So, before anyone else even has a chance to reject us, we've already rejected ourselves. The way to keep yourself from making assumptions is profoundly simple, yet it requires courage. Ask questions. If you don't understand, ask. Have the courage to keep asking until you are as clear as you can be. Once you hear the answer, you won't have to make assumptions, because you will know the truth. Also, find your voice to ask for what you want. Everyone has the right to say yes or no, but you always have the right to ask. When you stop making assumptions, your communication becomes clean and clear, free of emotional poison. Your word becomes impeccable. All of your relationships will change, not just with your partner, but with everyone. All human problems, Ruiz says, would be resolved if we could just have good, clear communication. The fourth agreement: always do your best. This is the agreement that makes the other three become deeply ingrained habits. It is about the action of the first three. Under any circumstance, always do your best, no more and no less. This is a crucial point. Your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. When you wake up in the morning refreshed and energized, your best will be of a higher quality than when you are tired at night. Your best will be different when you are healthy versus when you are sick. It changes. So, just do your best for that particular moment. If you try to do more than your best, you overdo it. You expend too much energy, you deplete your body, and you end up going against yourself. This will actually make it take longer to accomplish your goal. If you do less than your best, you subject yourself to frustration, self-judgment, guilt, and regrets. Your inner judge will have a field day with you. But if you always do your best, there is no way you can judge yourself. When the judge tries to find you guilty, you have the perfect answer: I did my best. There are no regrets. Ruiz tells a beautiful story about a man who goes to a Buddhist temple to find a master to help him transcend his suffering. He asks the master, "If I meditate for 4 hours a day, how long will it take me to transcend?" The master replies, "Perhaps 10 years. The man, thinking he can do better, asks, "What if I meditate for 8 hours a day?" The master looks at him and says, "Then perhaps it will take you 20 years. The man is confused. "Why will it take longer if I meditate more?" And the master answers, "You are not here to sacrifice your joy. You are here to live, to be happy, and to love. If you can do your best in 2 hours, but you spend 8, you will only grow tired and miss the point. Do your best, and you will learn to live, love, and be happy." This agreement is about taking action for the pure love of the action itself, not because you are expecting a reward. Most people do the opposite. They go to work just thinking about the paycheck, and as a result, they resist the work. They suffer through it. But if you do your best because you enjoy the action, rewards will come, but you won't be attached to them. You will find joy in the process. Action is about living fully. Inaction is denying life. You can have 1,000 great ideas in your head, but without action, they mean nothing. So, don't expect to be perfectly impeccable with your word overnight. Just do your best. Don't expect to never again take things personally. Just do your best. Don't expect to never make another assumption. Just do your best. By always doing your best, the old, negative habits will become weaker and weaker over time. Practice makes the master. And by doing your best, you become a master of transformation. The Toltec path to freedom, your new dream. So, we have our weapons, the 4 agreements. We know our enemy, the parasite in our mind. And we know our goal, personal freedom. The path of the spiritual warrior is to use these agreements to break the old, fear-based ones. Every time you break an agreement, you reclaim the personal power that you invested in it. You start with small agreements and, as your power grows, you can eventually face the big demons in your mind. This journey requires awareness and discipline. The discipline of a warrior is not about following external orders, but about having control over your own self, your own emotions. Ruiz makes a key distinction. A victim represses emotions out of fear, a warrior refrains. To refrain is to hold your emotions and express them at the right moment, not before, not after. This is control. This is impeccability. Ultimately, this path can lead to what Ruiz calls the initiation of the dead. This is not a physical death, but a symbolic one. It is where you allow the parasite, the judge, the victim, your entire old belief system, to die. And what follows this death is the most wonderful gift, the resurrection. To be resurrected is to be reborn. To become like a child again, wild and free, but with a profound difference. You now have freedom with wisdom, not innocence. Your mind is healed. You are finally free to run your own life. This is the creation of a new dream. Not the dream of the planet, but your own personal dream of heaven. Close your eyes for just a moment. Imagine living a life where you no longer have to justify your existence. A life free of conflict with yourself and others. Imagine living without the fear of being judged. Imagine living without the fear of loving and not being loved. Imagine that you love yourself just the way you are. This is not a fantasy. This is entirely possible. Others have done it. It is the state of bliss that comes from love. This is the promised land, nirvana, heaven. This is your new dream. The only reason you suffer is because you choose to suffer. And the only reason you are happy is because you choose to be happy. Happiness is a choice, and so is suffering. You have a choice, to suffer your destiny, or to enjoy your destiny. To live in hell, or to live in heaven. The choice is yours. Commentary. As we come to the end of our journey through the 4 agreements, I want you to just sit with the profound simplicity of it all. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. These aren't complex philosophical theories. They are simple, actionable principles. And yet, their power is transformative. Why? Because they target the very foundation of our suffering, the invisible agreements that govern our lives. The most powerful concept in this entire book, for me, is the idea of agreements. It reframes our entire reality. Our personality isn't some fixed, unchangeable thing. It's the result of thousands of tiny agreements we've made with ourselves, with others, and with life. This is who I am. This is what I believe. This is possible, and that is impossible. When you realize this, you also realize you have the power to change. If your life is built on agreements, you can choose to break the old ones that are based in fear and make new ones based in love. You can literally rewrite the contract you have with life. That is the essence of personal freedom. The book doesn't ask you to be perfect. In fact, the 4th agreement, always do your best, is the ultimate act of self-compassion. It acknowledges that we are human, that we will fall, that we will break the agreements. And it tells us that's okay. Just get up, and start again tomorrow. Okay, I broke my agreement today. I will start again. For today, I will do my best. This isn't about a one-time fix. It's about a daily practice. It's about becoming a warrior in your own mind, someone who is disciplined, aware, and in control of their own behavior. So, how can you start living this today? Let me offer 3 very small, practical steps. First, for the rest of today, simply become an observer of your words. Notice how many times you use your word against yourself. That little voice that says that was so dumb after you make a mistake. Just notice it. Don't judge it, don't try to stop it. Awareness is always the first step. Second, the next time you feel that sting of being offended or hurt by someone's comment, pause for just 1 second. Before you react, ask yourself this question: is this truly about me, or is this a reflection of their own dream, their own emotional state? That tiny gap of awareness can be the difference between swallowing poison and letting it pass you by. And third, think of one small assumption you make in a relationship with someone you care about. Maybe you assume they don't like a certain thing, or that they know how you feel about something. Find the courage to ask a simple, clarifying question. Replace one assumption with one piece of truth. See how it changes the dynamic. These 4 agreements are a map. A map out of the fog of the mitote and into the clear light of your authentic self. The journey is yours to take. It won't be easy. The old habits are strong. But every step you take, every agreement you keep, you reclaim a piece of your power, a piece of your freedom. That was a summary of the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. We've journeyed through the core ideas today, but I have to be honest with you. A summary is like looking at a picture of a magnificent feast. The real nourishment, the real magic, happens when you sit down and experience the meal for yourself. The book contains stories, prayers, and a depth that can only be felt when you allow its words to wash over you in your own quiet time. This summary is your invitation. If anything we talked about today sparked something within you, I encourage you to accept that invitation. Grab a copy of the book. Reading it isn't just an act of learning, it's an act of transformation that can fundamentally change the way you see yourself and the world around you. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found value in our time together today, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next deep dive into another life-changing book. Let's continue to learn and grow together.